Valerie.
This is Cord.
And you are listening to the General Conversation Podcast, Season 3, Episode 7. Be sure, guys, to check out our past episodes that we have. We have it on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Castbox. So if you want to check out our past episodes that we had just a bunch of cracks, jokes, our analysis on certain things, go ahead and check that out. Kadero, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, you know what I'm saying? I just got my swole on, just got my workout in, you know what I'm saying? I'm
But
feeling
look
real.
like you been, I saw you made a muscle the other time.
I was like, I was trying to flex a little bit, just because, reaching for unnecessary shit.
Yeah, because I know you got the battle ropes, and I can see the definition, like, kind of happening there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
Trying to get a summertime sexy on,
Oh, good God,
You know what I noticed, though?
What's that?
I lose my appetite when I work out. Is that a normal thing?
Yeah, because I do too. I think it's just like your metabolism probably burning, but you still should eat. So after you work out, you tend to burn more calories. So what you want to do, that's when you probably able to eat whatever you want. But you want to tend to eat or drink like protein shakes and put that nutrients back in your body because you don't burn a lot of energy. But that's probably why you don't feel hungry, because you don't worked out and gave it your all. But that's when you burn the most calories right after a workout. So yeah, just make sure you put in the proteins back into your body.
Cool, yeah, because I want to say mama cooks, you know what I'm saying? So when we done with this here, I got somewhere I need to be real quick, about 10-15 minutes.
This ain't gonna be long at all.
About 10 or 15 minutes, go grab me a plate and come on back. You know what I'm saying?
What did she make?
I think she's made greens, cornbread, and baked chicken and stuff. So
okay, the baked chicken probably could be good. Here you go, greens, cornbread.
Oh yeah,
you sound like that meme with was it Shirley Caesar?
I need some out.
Green, tomatoes.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna tap that one time, and then we gonna take a nice little nap.
So not a salad, huh? A nice little nap. Nah, you ain't supposed to eat. Then you know how it is. You ain't supposed to get the itis. You gotta take a walk or something. Don't eat full. Get full, and then go right back to sleep. Don't do that. To sleep.
I'm gonna take a walk. I'm gonna take a walk to the couch, and then we.
All right now.
Walk straight to the couch.
Okay, so I found a topic of conversation that I wanted to get your opinion on. I saw this article from The Knot, and it had some good questions on there. And it had 5 conversations you need to have before getting married.
Ooh.
I know. So, Kadir, let me ask you, do you think you even need to have a conversation with someone before you get married to them, or like establish anything, like any boundaries or anything like that?
Definitely before you do that whole marriage thing. Right. Definitely.
The whole marriage thing. Okay. So I'm gonna read a little article, not really read it, but list out the 5 things, and then we're gonna discuss them. Okay, so the 5 things they stated that you should do. Also, they suggest that you have premarital counseling, which I think is good. Depending on where you go, though, who is giving you this premarital counseling,
right?
But yeah, definitely get someone that's established and have credentials. The first thing they say, I don't know if it's in any particular order, but they say having and raising kids. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that should be discussed beforehand?
Yeah. Because I mean, if you're gonna, because when you marry somebody, you pretty much you're saying for lifetime. So yeah, definitely.
Right. I agree. And basically they're saying, I like how in this article too, it tells you like what it's okay to disagree on. Like saying, I never looked at it like this because see, I have a number in my head. So it's like, okay. But they're saying that it's okay to disagree with your partner on how many kids you want right now. Mm-hmm. Because I like what they said. They said once a couple has their first kid, they'll have a better idea of basically what they want, like if they need any more kids. And I said, see, that's smart because I got a number, but I might be like, I could do this again. Or I could be like, no, I was right. I was right. I was right. So I think that's very smart because I do think people get hung up on how many kids they want. So that was very interesting. I never thought about it like that, but that's why it's good to like get other people's opinions, do premarital counseling to get somebody else's point of view. But that's true. I think that's very, because you can say, I want 3, but child, you might like,
Right. We all said we won't until we get it. And he's like, hey, wait a minute.
But like, but how we get this far?
That's real.
we go. You said one, right? Well, okay, one.
We stopping. This is it. This is it.
Yeah. The second thing they discussed that you should discuss is money and your careers. And I think this is very good to discuss this because one, I think financial reasons is one of the main reasons people get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they talk about how you can talk about if you want to have joint accounts or pull your money together, or if you want to have separate account. And like I knew somebody that older lady who she said her husband when they first got married, right? They had joint accounts, but he wasn't good with like paying the bills. He was just going ahead and doing what he was doing. Everything else was good with that part. And she said she was like, I was about to divorce him, so we got separate accounts. Because she said, this is what we're not gonna do. I'm not gonna go because she's like financially
savvy.
Like she's a saver, she's frugal, and he's like a spender. And so I think it's okay to be with somebody that's not on your same financial goal set kind of thing. Like y'all can be different than how you spend or save. But I think they need to have a bigger picture of like, okay, you don't need to go spend the rent money or the mortgage or the, whatever y'all sharing together. And once your money gone, don't come ask me for no money.
For real.
If you done spent it on frivolous things, you know what I mean? Like you do need to budget yourself. Like, and I believe in that too. Like I don't think I would have to budget my husband. Like the thing is, I got my money, you got your money. Then there's the account where we pay the bills. That could be something. What do you think on that, Cordero?
All right. So my thing is because you all kind of know how I feel about marriage anyway. So we're not gonna get into that, but I think because with marriage you are going to be legally bound, and this is where a lot of legalities come into it. Definitely going with a plan. Are y'all gonna like I said, are you gonna have joint accounts or are you gonna have separate accounts? And there's nothing wrong with sitting down and mapping out financial legal plan. Like, hey, I feel since this, like I say, when you get into marriage, it's officially a contract now, and I was looking at both of y'all. Well, the thing is, I think, if you all need to sit down, like, hey, we're going to get married, but we map out this financial plan along with the careers, hey, we're going to pay this off first. We're going to pay this off first. Just come in with a plan of what you're going to do. In a couple of years, I want to get a new car. Do you want a new car? What's the timeline we're going to do that? There's nothing wrong with coming up with a really solid financial plan and doing that before you all get that legality contract, because that's like I said, money breaks up a lot of relationships. It really does.
I actually really like that how you said like, hey, in a few years I want this and that. And I think that a lot of times we mention money and finances, but we also don't put in careers and that can go encompass that as well. And I like that article actually encompassed that part of it because what if you like want to start your own business? Like you guys should have that conversation because it's not easy to do. And you taking a leap of faith on yourself, especially if you don't have the startup money for that, which a lot of people don't. And I really think that should be like if you want to go back to school, if that's going to be something you're going to do in the future. Now, granted, I know sometimes people don't know that automatically. They could be in a job and think they love it and something can happen. They're like, you know what, I'm going back to school. Yeah. But I think that like, if you kind of save your money and plan for the what ifs and have that conversation with your partner, I don't think your partner would be like, oh, now I got to support you. Then I'm like, well, okay, I knew it was a possibility that, anything can happen. And so we both was planning for that. And so if where you lack, I got you. And being, nobody wants to be in a career just that they're not happy in. So yeah, when you be with someone for a long time, that is an opportunity. There is a chance that, the person would want a career change or they can, you know what I mean? So
I was just going to say that too. And I also like piggyback off what you said, as far as like when y'all making a financial plan, have that emergency fund account set aside. Like, hey, just in case one of us lose our jobs, we have this emergency fund account to where, you still can have a little, you're not walking around here just broke. Bills are paid for, not around here broke, and it's not all in one person. So we're going to pull money into the account. And then, like you said, with your career and things like that, like this is where it comes to make sure you can be honest with your partner. Hey, I'm in this job now, but I kind of want to open my own business. So this is subject to change, and within a few years, it's subject to change. So just kind of being honest with somebody, you can have a good job and be like, well, I really want to run my own business in a couple of years. just so they are aware of what's going to happen, so they're not caught off guard. Like you said, if you want to go to school, like, hey, let's set money aside to where in 2.5 years, I can go back to school. We had to worry about that. One thing I saw when I was working with this guy a while back, this how him and his wife did it. They planned it out. He worked mostly, and then she went to school. And then when she got her degree and started her career, he took the back seat, cut his hours down, and then he went to school mostly, and she worked and paid the bill. So that's just, it's about teamwork and having that financial plan, and having that financial plan. Even with paying stuff off, I say all the time, like, hey, you got $5,000 left in this car, I got 10 on mine. Let's knock yours out first. Then we can take the same money, and just roll it over to mine, and then we can knock mine out within 6 months, just about. Come up with that financial plan of knocking stuff out and getting out of debt. And
you definitely have to be a team. You have to communicate well with finances, and I think you also have to be open and a team. Like, hey, does this work for you? And having that conversation. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. To ask you, since we're speaking of finances, in marriages, do you believe in prenups? And how would you feel if someone wanted to have a prenup?
I wouldn't be mad. Yes, I do believe in prenups. I wouldn't be mad about it. I think that, but once again, it's just a discussion that you all honest discussion that you need to have. How we gonna, if we do get divorced, how are we gonna split this up? We're gonna split everything down the middle, everything in the bank account down the middle, or we're gonna go on percentages of who put what in, or how are we gonna split this stuff up? Because bank records, they keep bank records. Bank records go way back to forever. So I think that is I wouldn't be hurt. I wouldn't be sad if they didn't want one. I would, like, hey, are you sure? Because I might want one. So just depending on who it is, and how our relationship.
He said who it is. I don't trust this helper.
How relationship develops so far. But like you said, because some people might not be as financially savvy, and you got to be honest. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself.
Correct. I believe in that. I also think, though, I think a lot of people look at having a prenup like, don't you got to have a lot of money for that? And I'm like, no, you can just, like Cordell said, you could just want to protect what you do have. And I mean, I think fair is fair. That's how I feel. Like, I'm a very able-bodied person. I'm very goal-oriented. And it's like, I think that you should protect your assets that you had before I came in, and vice versa. Now, once we get married, I mean, I think it's marriage, it's we together, you know what I mean? But I'm like, before you, I had like 9 houses, you know what I'm saying? But whatever I had before you, I feel like, don't even worry about it. Now, if we have a certain agreement where the person is like, oh, well, I don't mind, you have whatever works for you guys, but I still think people should, whether you have a lot of money or a little money, I still think that prenups are, a financial smart thing to do.
Yeah, and my thing is, I mean, people kind of look at prenups as this such a bad thing. My thing is, it can be something simple as far as like, hey, what do we do jointly together? We split down the middle. Now your own bank account is still your own bank account. Whatever car is your name, still your own car, so on and so forth. Like, just it's okay to protect yourself, and that's just I like to keep it simple. Whatever we go joint on is what we split. What you bought in your name and put in your name, and what's yours, cool. And what I put in my name is cool.
So this article goes in and talk about, kind of like where you want to live and things like that. Like I said, these things, like what kind of home you want, what kind of lifestyle you want to live in the city, you want to live in the country, do you want to travel? Like me and my partner definitely gonna have to have a traveling budget, because that's what I like to do. But I think that's all in just having a conversation and you guys saving together and things like that. The next thing that they say you should talk about is, which is number 3, religion and values. And they say, but it's okay to disagree on issues with your in-laws. Now, here's my thing. My family isn't really in my business like that when it comes to just period. So they're not. And I don't know if I ever dated somebody where their family was really like into our relationship. But I do think like your relationship is your relationship, and you shouldn't bring in in-laws into certain things like that anyway. Like, if you want to baptize your kids or whatever, like that's between the parents. I don't think you should have like outside people telling you what to do. I think it's something that you guys should come together and decide on. But I definitely think people should talk about religion, if they have one, and how they want to raise, especially if they want to raise kids. I think it really doesn't matter too much if it's just you and another person. But like, I think it's adorable when the guy wants to go to church with you and all that. So, and also the values, morals are very important. And some people, what's a big deal to you might not be a big deal to another person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, something just as small as like some people that, oh, I don't eat pork because maybe religious reasons, and then you do. So I think that's something that you definitely have to talk about. But definitely, if you want to have kids, it's important to get these things clarified. Even though sometimes people religious views change, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they value change depending on, like, I mean, just life happens. But yeah, I think that is something that you need to talk about. What about you, Cordero? Do you think there's like,
I think that should be discussed before y'all ever start like getting a relationship with somebody.
okay,
Period.
okay, I
Because
can
I
see that.
mean, because let's say me personally, I don't get into relationships with people for there to be an end. You see, that's to me, that's crazy.
Oh,
You
okay,
know what I'm saying? I'm not like, well, I'm only gonna date you for 2.5 years, then we're gonna call it quits. Like that's kind of
right.
nobody. I don't see people, people that do that. Now, if we just playing around, then that's going to be said. But so I think that should be discussed prior to anyway, especially if you're going to spend all your time with this person. What are your religious beliefs, and can you deal with that, whatever they are, you know? So especially like I said, especially when it comes down to kids, but like I said, even kids, I think should be discussed if you're just going to get a relationship with somebody. Because like I said, I don't personally get a relationship with somebody just to be like, okay, the time limit on you is gonna be 3 years, then I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Also, too, I think it's important to talk about this too, because like, are you gonna vaccinate your kids? Are you gonna, just a
Oh
lot of things, like
yeah.
just a lot of things that I think you would have to
Mm-hmm.
think about, and
I
then
didn't think about
too,
that either. I really didn't think
yeah,
about that.
yeah, it's important. So people, whether you want to like, how you gonna feed your kids, like, are you gonna breastfeed? I mean, that's the woman's choice,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, like, some people want to choose to eat organically. I know I'm trying to go toward that way. Like, I want to have my own farm, or at least a little, like, if not my own farm, a form of it that I can grow a lot of my own food. So yeah, I think you just have to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I think that just goes down to like you saying about how eating and things like that. That's just learning the person. As you kind of as you go along, you learn certain things like y'all dating in the beginning it's all fun or whatever. Then y'all get more and more serious. Like, okay, well I'm gonna have to cook for this person, or this person be cooking for me, and we're gonna be around each other. So like, what are their eating habits? And like, say if we're gonna have kids, like you said, the vaccination thing, I really didn't think about that. What are they health conscious when it comes to kids, or who's gonna carry that that charge, or who's gonna be leading that way? You know what I'm saying? Like I could be good at building decks, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I put dirt on my wounds when I was a little boy, so hey, you know, right? So that's. But I think those conversations, like I said, definitely should be had though. What does she got? What does she got?
The next one is how you will handle fights. I never thought about this, but this is very important. And I've had this
Don't
conversation.
don't raise your voice at me.
I've had this conversation on this podcast, so you guys can go back and look at some of our past episodes to see what we thought about just having arguments in general. But I never thought to like put that in. That's just something I think, because I haven't even got to the marriage part. So I think just in dating, like how you say
Yeah.
religion is the first, like religion and things like that is like one of your deal. Like it's kind of like your first thing before you even get into a relationship. I
Mm-hmm.
think how someone talks to me and how we can resolve issues is like important, because communication to me is very important. And I think sometimes, like, of course, in the beginning you shouldn't be fighting, so you don't know. But I think it is important to realize, like, okay, because everybody gotta, regardless if you believe it or not, everybody has a fighting style, and everybody has like argument, kind of like how they proceed, like if they
Mhm.
get quiet, if they gotta argue till they can't argue no more, if they get loud, if they get this. And sometimes it's not even them getting loud, it's just them getting animated. But so some people be cussing, and I'm just like, look, when you argue, you only be cussing at me because see now I can't even focus on what you saying.
Right. And I think a lot of times if y'all come to a disagreement, I think and it's getting serious. All the jokes aside, ain't nobody playing, right? And you gotta watch the slick comments, watch the slick statements, watch how you talking to them, watch your tone. And I think you have to go into it with the realization like, hey, it's not me versus you, it's us versus this problem we're having. So you gotta be. My thing is, I don't.
That. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I love that. Say that one more time for the people in the back.
It's not me versus you, it's us versus this problem. And so I think what you have to do is you have to have a good amount of problem solving skills, and then go in it with I don't like to go into things pointing fingers. I like to go into things like let's
You
try
don't
to
like
find.
to,
Yeah,
right? You want to find a resolution. You don't want to be
let's find a solution.
argumentative.
Yeah, let's find a solution to this. Because half time, it's the misunderstandings come from just miscommunication. And like how people always say, I don't like having an argument through text because you can't tell my tone. You don't know
Right.
what it is. I might say something to you and I have a big ass smile on my face, but on your end, you looking at the text and like, no, he's smart ass, yada yada yada. I'm gonna go off, right? You see what I'm saying? You can't see my face, you can't read my actions and things like that. So go into it being solution oriented, not like, oh, well, I'm gonna prove to you it's your fault.
Right. You
You're
know
right.
what? You know what's so important?
Mhm.
You know what? You have said some things that have really touched home. Like, how about that part that when you're in an argument, and I think it's more intense when you with somebody that you actually care about in that kind of way. But
Mhm.
I feel like too, a lot of times when you're having an argument, whether it's man and woman or whatever, there's somebody there's all I feel like sometimes there are people when you're having an argument, you're trying to get not only your point across, but like some people argue to be like, I'm right. And like there has to be
Exactly.
a winner and there has to be a loser.
Right.
And it's like if why it gotta be it's not a competition.
Right.
I know some people would disagree with that, but it's not a competition. Like I don't care to be right, but I'm wrong in that matter. But if I'm wrong, I should be able to apologize to you. You can see my point, I can see your point, and we can have a compromise. We can compromise this and talk about the situation and get through it because that's what
Right.
I want to do. Because you know what irks me is having the same conversation, the
Conversation.
same fight again.
Right.
Now I'm irritated. You understand what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like you do there shouldn't be winner and losers, and it's like first of all, you should always want me to win in the sense of like, okay, she's not trying to be negative towards me, or she's not trying to like I'm not trying to go at you. I'm just it was a misunderstanding or this and this or yes, I disagree with you, but my disagree, like the fact that I disagree with you shouldn't think that okay, I'm against you. Like it's just
Right.
that's crazy. You know what I
And,
mean?
and, and I think on the flip side of that, even if let's say y'all come to the thing of, okay, so and so messed up, don't browbeat the person, especially if they already don't browbeat the person. Well, last time you did this, well, I was right about this. Don't browbeat. That's so childish. Like, don't browbeat the person. Hey, we came to a resolution. You are we. I'm not gonna say I don't even use the term. You was wrong. I don't even want to use the term because it seemed like it seemed like you're almost pointing the finger again. But we came to a resolution. We solved the issue. Let's move on past this point. You know what I'm saying? And we'll have better judgment next time.
I like that the article also says whatever your argument style is, because everybody argument style ain't gonna be the same. And when you argument, it doesn't mean that you actually like going crazy. It's just you're gonna have disagreements. It's just you be
Right.
with somebody, it's gonna happen. Because friends have disagreements, relatives have disagreement. It happens. Co-workers have disagreement. So you really know you're gonna have disagreements once you're in a relationship with someone. But it says whatever your argument style is, hash out what counts. Hash out what counts as acceptable fighting behavior and what's off limits. So I never thought in my mind to be like, okay, let me go ahead and say this is this and this is not whatever, this and this and this. Now I have once the argument has already happened and kind of like whatever, but in my mind, I don't really necessarily like, oh, this is what should be. We can talk, but we can't talk about this, So I think I think that's some good advice.
Yeah, like I think and once again, just something that you need to talk about. There's nothing wrong with having, like I said, argument boundaries. Hey, like my
Right.
biggest thing is like this. if we're in a serious conversation and we're having a serious issue, don't raise your voice at me for one.
Right.
That's number one. And then watch the slick comments. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to, because then I'm be like, see, you're not, in my mind, it turns off
It's
like you're
about
not
respect.
you know what? Bam, there you go. Right. Respect our issue. Because this is our issue. Regardless if it's my fault or your fault or not, it's our issue. So right, show me proper respect. Don't raise your voice at me, and just let's work to the solution. The
Yeah.
goal should always the end goal.
Because I think sometimes when people have arguments, they forget about respecting the other person because they so busy trying to prove their point that sometimes respect goes out of the window.
Right.
And I think there's a way to get your point across, not get crazy, have the disagreement, and then if you need to revisit it again. But if you find that you going like, okay, this is because I've been there where I'm like, you know what, we'll just have to talk about this later because we're not coming to a common ground, and I can't come back. We have to come back to this later, and we will, because I'm the kind of person, I'm not gonna lie. We don't have to resolve it right then and there, but we gonna talk about it.
We're gonna solve about it.
We're gonna solve it because I can't go with the unresolved. Like let's brush over it.
Right.
That's not the way. For me, the way I show my love and respect and things, that's not how just browsing over things. And I think that comes from childhood, like, you know, seeing different people, relationships, and being like, okay, they didn't say sorry or nothing. Like, I'm confused. Like, yeah, so I think I just made in my mind, like, I don't like feeling like things are unresolved with anyone. So in that sense, it's like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, you can say what you gotta say, and then let's move on. Yeah. Is this gonna be good or it's not? But let's have some common ground if we're gonna still be in this relationship.
Yeah, I think, like I say, there's nothing wrong with coming back to it if you all get into
heated about it.
Hey, let's put a pin in this right now. Let's do something to eat. You know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all go to is, you know, whether you want to go read a book or
see,
whatever.
that's look, you winning right there. Let's go get something to eat. I'm like, look, all
right. And he's so stupid.
You know, I like to eat. I'm like, okay, we're gonna talk about it later, but yeah, let's what we about to eat.
yeah. And I was like, so basically, yeah, I don't like necessarily just burying the issue either, because burying an issue it's like a sore. If you don't clean it, it's just gonna get worse. And it's gonna cause you problems later on, probably worse problems later on.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's
the last, because this article only has 5, so the last thing they say you should discuss is your deal breakers and bucket lists. So they say, like, let your partner know what you will be able to tolerate and what you won't. Like, for example, if someone is too flirtatious with other women, or if someone is not well with money and they will blow it, likes to go gambling, things like that. Some people have vices, you know. And also bucket lists. Some people have some days and they're able to turn their some days into actual days. So let's say you say, I want to go live in Ireland one day. Like, that has always been my dream. You should also let your partner know that that's something that has been a dream of yours. Like, once you retire, that's where you want to retire to, and see if they're open to going there. Or like Cordero, I know you said, you know, you always are kind of like infatuated with Japan. Like, if that's somewhere you had wanted to retire to, it's a good idea to let the partner know, because even whether it happens or not, that's just something that's a possibility that it could happen, especially if you're kind of I guess if that is something that you cannot like change, like no, I am going to move out the country and I am going to Japan. Like, that should definitely be something you guys talk about. So
right, and you know what? It's funny you say that. And one thing I did want to piggyback off of you is, because what came to mind was about compromise, and because, you know, my biggest thing, like, you're right, that's what I want to do. I want to live abroad, I want to live in the country and stuff like that. And this is something that came on my mind. If the person that I ended with was like, yo, I really don't want to live out in the country, I kind of like it here in my family, you know, because people have family, things like that. I'll be like, you know what? Can we at least get a house in another country? That way we got 2 houses, you know, we're going to spend a couple of months there and come back when you get homesick, you know, just kind of there. You can find solutions if you look for solutions. Is kind of what I'm trying to make. You can find solutions. You don't have to give up on your dream entirely. Like I said, my big dream is to live abroad, to have a house in Japan, or, you know, living in Japan, stuff like that, you know, but I understand that I'm with this person and that might not be their end game. So I'll be like, hey, well, can we compromise? Can we get a place there? And, you know, we go spend a few months there once in a while, and then we come back when you feel homesick, just, you know, to compromise, to get that we both get what we want. This, you know,
I think you have to find that person that's open minded like
mhm.
that too. That won't feel like they're doing something because they want to keep you, but they're doing it like, oh, I never thought about it like that. Because here's the thing, I think that sometimes people can have dreams because
Mhm.
that's their dreams, right? That's their bucket list. They can have that. Then you might have never thought about leaving the country, but then like kind of once it sinks in, or once the person shows you a plan, like you can show me a good detailed plan. I'm like,
That
okay,
works.
so we can get a house and we can
Right.
okay, and I can teach English. Like you have to have that person that has an open mind, then
Mhm.
it's about things like that. And if you do, I think, yeah, that could be an awesome thing. That's extra income. They get to
Yeah.
see a different culture. So I just think whatever your bucket list is or whatever your deal breakers are, like they have to respect that. And if they don't, then you guys probably aren't the best. You probably
Right.
probably won't make it, and you probably not the best for each other.
But like it just goes back to what you're saying though. You got to have a plan, and
Yeah.
even though plans do tend to change, there's nothing wrong with having a decent blueprint. You know what I'm saying? To kind of go off of.
So that was all the discussion questions they had that you should talk about on the article. Like I said, I got these 5 questions that you should talk about on the knots, and you guys can look that up as well. Cordelia, did you have anything else?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I think that was a very a good top five.
It
A good
is a
top
good
five.
top five.
Good top
It's
five.
you know what? It's a start. You might could add some other things in there,
Yeah.
but that's a good basis to start from. Definitely a good basis before you get married. And some of that stuff, honestly, you can add while you dating. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I
saying?
was gonna say. My biggest one, honestly, my biggest one was the financial things before having that financial plan before marriage, because everything else you should be finding out while you're dating. There should be a conversation
Right.
while you're dating, period. Especially if you're getting serious with a person. But
Like,
because
wait, you believe in the devil? What
bro,
you
wait a God,
mean?
you can't what now?
You said Lil Nas X. You try to get them 666 shoes. What
Like,
that?
you know what? Not gonna work for me. But but plus, the marriage thing is such, there's so many legal ramifications. I think that's just a very important one to have. That's pretty much the turn screw for me.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, we're gonna wrap this thing on up. I gotta go eat personally, and Valerie has things she has to do. She's a very busy woman. Um, so Valerie, you got anything to add, lady?
Nope. I think that's it.
All right, well, we're gonna holler at y'all at a later date. Peace.
Peace.